Okay, all the people who organize national IGF can come up here, please. National IGFs, only national IGFs. Good morning, everybody. The people who raised their hands saying they have organized the national IGF, they should come. This meeting is going to be divided into 3 parts. The first one will be calling on stakeholders who have organized National Internet Governance Forum. The second part will deal with particular stakeholder groups who have organized specialized IGF forum, like youth IGF, if they did it this year. And the third segment will deal with the sub-regional IGF organizers. So now we have the national organizers. We have Tunisia, we have Kenya, we have Nigeria, we have Mauritius, we have South Africa, and that's finished. The list is closed. Please, if you not have the opportunity to talk about your national IGF. So we give each of you only 5 minutes to give us the gist of what you have done. But we don't want you to go through the procedural matters and so on. We need mainly to see the problems you had and the conclusion recommendations of your IGF. So I'll give the floor to the lady from Tunisia. You introduce yourself, please, before speaking.
Yes, thank you, Chair of the session. So I'm Faye, I'm from Tunisia. I'm the Vice Chair of the National IGF. In my speech, I will try to speak about our, of course, national IGF. You said that we have to speak about problems and recommendations.
Yes.
Okay, so I want before to say that our in accordance with the provisions of paragraphs 73 to 79 of the Tunisia agenda and the results of the constitutive meeting held in Tunis on September 2012, the National Forum for Internet Governance was created. A constituent commission has been formed with the mandate to prepare the terms of reference and to organize the elective General Assembly. We organized our first IGF in 2013. We tackled many subjects of concerns of that reflects the concerns of Tunisia for the internet. We had some problems after we tried to bring to speak about problems on our first meeting. We didn't have really the participation that we wanted, and anyway, we had it, and it was quite interesting. We tried after to organize, seeing the participation of the first one, we tried as a MAG to organize an event in order to make some awareness, and we invited all the stakeholders of in Tunisia, private sector, government, academia, civil society, to discuss more about the fact that they have to engage more and to make some awareness about this IGF in Tunisia. We had some silent period for about I think 2 years. We didn't make any meeting or session, IGF session after. It was always that we have to we tend to give up at this time and stop doing this, but happily we didn't give up, and we tried to bring more people to this national IGF. We organized it in 2012. We organized a General Assembly in order to discuss the terms of reference of our IGF, and we make a call to the wider community to come and participate. This is a good aspect of our IGF, I think, because it was an evolutionary one. We changed the terms. We We had the outputs of the recommendation of the wider community. In 2016, we decided to renew the MAG and bring some good blood, but we did renew only the 2/3 of the MAG in order to ensure some continuity of the MAG. And we had our meeting in lately in 2017. And if you may, Chair, I want to give the mic to our colleague from Tunisia, who is also from the MAG, to speak about what we did in this MAG, which is Hafiz Ahmadi, please. Yes, he has 2 minutes to speak about it. Please, Hafiz, it's up to you.
Can you give him the mic, please? Please give the mic to her.
Yes, yes, Hafiz, it's to you.
Thank you, Faye. In fact, I will give you a brief resume of what we did in the 17th of October 2017. We have organized, in fact, the second local IGF in Tunisia. And essentially, we have been organized in creating a set of commission to create this network of working together to prepare the local IGF. Essentially, the theme that we have choose was shape your digital future, and we have worked together to create the different sub-themes. And the workshop was around 5 workshops dealing about the government of Tunisia, and the welcome note was done by the Minister of ICT in Tunisia, where the debate was around internet governance regulation for better local digital strategy in Tunisia. And at the end, we endorsed to foster better youth participation from universities, from schools, and at the end of the session, we closed the IGF with a closing session titled "The Importance of the Multi-Stakeholder Model in the Decision-Making Process." So I think what makes it a successful event is a prominent stakeholder participation with a support. I can say it with a support. I think it's a spirit of mind of the government in Tunisia, where the minister was present and made the opening of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tunisia. Please, if you can have some notes and you give it to the rapporteur of this session, then all your concerned recommendations can be taken into account. Barak from Kenya, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, or is it morning, colleagues? So the Kenya IGF was held on 8th of August 2017. The theme was internet and the elections. Of course, the theme was appropriate because we were in an election period. Kenya IGF was organized by a multi-stakeholder advisory group and was convened by the Kenya ICT Action Network. So I'm making this presentation as a member of the multi-stakeholder advisory group. So the focus of the Kenya IGF over the last 2 years has been bringing new voices into the internet governance debate. And our focus has been largely also on bringing the youth on board. And we've seen a lot of benefit of involving the youth in the Internet Governance Forum process. This year, we actually had an IGF week because of interest from the variety of stakeholders. And the interesting thing is the meeting continued trending on Twitter 2 days after the meeting. And this is testament of what can happen when the youth are put at the forefront this meeting. So I think this was one of the key learning points from us in Kenya. The other important thing to note is that Kenya IGF celebrated 10 years in 2017. So it was essentially the 10th IGF since we organized the first one in the year 2008. So it's been a long journey, and we've learned a lot in the process. Basically, the IGF week started with the Kenya School of Internet Governance, which was in its second edition. We had about 40 participants, largely made up of representatives from the county governments. Kenya now is in its 5th year of trying out a new system of government, which is the county government. So we had representatives from the county governments. We had representatives from law enforcement agencies participating in the Internet Governance Forum. We also had representatives from the media participating in the Internet Governance Forum, and also from non-governmental and other international organizations that are based in Kenya. So one of the lessons we've learned is the more we include other stakeholder groupings, the more we gain traction and acceptance in the community. And I forgot to mention that the total number of participants was actually 250 on site and close to 1,000 remote. Of course, there were many remote participants, the role that the youth who were participating in the meeting were playing. So as I close, we launched a policy brief on internet and elections. And this policy brief was a culmination of contributions during the Kenya IGF and mailing list discussions. Normally, we do have a mailing list discussion that precedes the Kenya IGF on issues related to internet shutdowns. And I'm glad to say that because of these policy briefs, a number of government institutions that were involved in hate speech and internet shutdowns were actually able to relate to it or use it, given we were in a very hotly contested election period, and we never witnessed a shutdown, even though there were a few challenges here and there to do with the law, but the government never really shut down the internet. So I would like to encourage the other national initiatives. In as much as people say that the IGF is a talk shop, we can actually come up with documents in the form of policy briefs that can inform the decisions that are made by our policy makers whenever they need to make critical decisions. So I would like to end there.
Thank you very much, Barak.
Yes.
Now let's
Getting ready.
give the floor to Mary of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Makane. What I want to say is that our communique and our reports, the NIGF report, they are all on our website, so you can visit our website. I will only point out highlights. First is that we included, apart from including youth, we included training for law enforcement agents for 2 days, and it came out to be the best. And second is that we decided to move it out from the center to the region, and a state governor came as a, the state governor that hosted us was the one that declared it open and gave us a keynote address. So it was a booster. Third is that because of the law enforcement agents training, now a working group on law enforcement and IGF is being formed. The other thing is that we had over 600 participants. Now, what was the topic? Internet, connecting, shaping, and empowering the people. Then for the law enforcement training, what we're looking at, the DNS abuse. For the youth was connecting, empowering the connected youth. And all this happened between the 10th and the 17th of July 2017. Our recommendations were, just as we do all the time, but to call on the stakeholders to look at the economic empowerment of our people using the power of the internet. Let's use the tool that we have. Okay, and these recommendations and the communique is being circulated now. I will tell you, in 2016, when we did our recommendation, just like Barak said, our Minister of Communication set up a task force to look at all the recommendations and see what the policy direction it can take from that. And other government establishments. Okay, like this year, we lifted up some of the recommendations that are pertinent to each of the government establishments, and they will be looking at that. Our challenges was connectivity. Connectivity was poor in the where we went to, unlike when we are at the center or at Abuja or Lagos. But we went to a state, so connectivity was a big challenge. Those that are to do that would have followed us on remote couldn't. Our international presenters were not able to speak to us because we had challenges with remote participation. And what was it? Is infrastructure. Infrastructure, a big challenge. At a point, we weren't sure that we were going to have that, the 2017 IGF, NIGF. But when the state governor accepted to host us, then it worked out. I also want to say that from we have already decided who will host 2018, 2019, 2020, and we're rotating it among our stakeholders. And we hope by 2021, the private sector will be able to host us. And our private sector man champion is here, Jameson Olufuyi. I hope that one. So in 2018, we already decided the government establishment that will be hosting, the location they will decide. And the theme would also allow the community, the internet community, to decide what the theme will be. So I will conclude by saying that we have come a long way, and we have a strong working mag. We are trying to sign MOU with our stakeholders so that we know that we will not have financial issues. So if we sign the MOU, the stakeholder will tell us how much the stakeholder will be contributing to the hosting of the annual IGF. And I will encourage you, maybe you develop such as well at your national level. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Now I give the floor to Mayan for the Mauritius IGF. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Makane. So the Mauritius Internet Governance Forum was held for the first time in the island of Mauritius on 16th November this year. It was the first one, the first event which gathered so many stakeholders. We had participants from the government, academia, the corporate sector, the industry, civil society, and the technical community. Let me at the very outset tell you that this event coincided with the close of a national project that had started 2 years ago. And that project was the Good Digital Parenting. The Good Digital Parenting went to all the far-to-reach population in Mauritius and sensitized homestay mothers on how to teach their kids on internet security, internet safety. So the first Mauritius IGF was also a landmark because it had started some years ago without having in mind the event itself. The theme of the Mauritius IGF was enhancing digital trust to encompass online child safety. We wanted to be in line with a project that has just ended. And the sub-themes for the Mauritius IGF were how safe are our children, enhancing digital trust, and lastly, improving experiences of children on the internet. We had various panelists on each session, and I would like to say that they were very professional. And we are proud to having hold this event. The opening ceremony was attended by one government representative, the corporate sector, and we also had a video message from the chairperson of the IGF SA. And what is remarkable in it, at the opening ceremony, we also invited one key player of the industry, that's the AfriNIC, and the head of the AfriNIC, Mr. Alan Barnett, who is somewhere here, we need to acknowledge, he gave the keynote address. I would also like to say that we had media coverage, and the national television also covered that event. By the way, the report is still being summarized, worked out by the Secretariat, and it will be posted on the Mauritius IGF website. I would also like to recognize the support from the IGF SA and the corporate sector, which helped us a lot in providing funds to host this first event. And on a concluding note, the Secretariat is working towards the next IGF, which will be held in Mauritius, and we are scheduled for next August. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now you give the floor to South Africa.
Thank you very much. The South African IGF took place last week from the 28th to the 29th of November. The theme for the South African IGF was Shaping Your Digital Future, which is aligned to the global IGF. The opening ceremony the keynote address at the opening ceremony was made by the Deputy Minister of Telecommunications and Postal Services. And the department was working in conjunction with the Domain Name Authority of South Africa in convening the ZAIGF. I think from the onset, I should state that how we view the IGF as South Africa is it's not just about talking about issues, but it's about how do we action some of the issues that come out of the IGF. We view this as a platform for South Africans to come and talk about their challenges and come up with solutions as a collective, where we take collective responsibility and make collective decisions. We had about 8 sessions, 17 speakers over the 2 days, and the IGF took place in one of the black townships in South Africa, in Soweto, because we want to ensure that we involve everybody, because during one of the sessions was digital inclusion and transformation. And we believe that we need to go to the outlying areas to ensure that the dialogue begins there also. Because most of the time what you find is that we have these meetings in town where, you know, the disadvantaged people cannot get to. So this time we decided that we need to involve more youth, and we need to go to the disadvantaged area to get the people there talking also. I think one of in the keynote address that the deputy minister made was that as South Africa, there's a lot that is going on. There's a lot of fragmentation, but we need to come together and work together to ensure that we move ahead. And also the other thing is that we spoke in the meeting was that how do we connect the unconnected to sustainably? Because I know most of the time we go out, we connect people, but the 2 days after we leave, they're disconnected because they cannot sustain that. We need to come up with sustainable ways and innovative ways of how to connect the unconnected, and also it should not be seen as a government problem, but it should be seen as a South African problem. And also from the meeting was that the South African IGF is not a South African, is not a government meeting, is a collective meeting. And one of the outcomes that came out of the meeting was that we formed a multi-stakeholder committee that will convene, that will assist in convening the IGF going forward. But also what this multi-stakeholder committee will be doing also is how they will come up with a work program from the recommendations that come out of the ZIGF, so that in the next IGF, we are able to say, how did we move forward? In terms of policies, we'll look at what needs to be done to ensure that we have a conducive environment, to ensure that whatever it is that came out of the IGF is actioned, but also saying that business, civil society, academia also come to the fore. Let's do the proper research and and development. Let's work together for a better South Africa. So that was the message that came out of there. But also the challenges that were raised. I think those are the challenges across Africa of access, affordability, security, awareness, affordability, security, and all of that. And to say that sometimes going out there and connecting people, but not showing them the benefits of the internet is not enough. It's no longer about connectivity alone, but it's about ensuring that all the pillars are in place to ensure that people see the benefits of the internet and they become active participants of the information society. That I will conclude with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Palesa. Now we'll go to the last speaker, Namibia.
Thank you so much. I'm Natasha from representing the Namibian Internet Governance Forum. From the 27th to the 28th of September, we had our first IGF as Namibia, and we were very proud of that achievement. It was a multi-stakeholder platform. The working group that organized the IGF is also a multi-stakeholder body. Our working group was initiated by our Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, and it was only formalized. It was initiated sometime last year, November, and then we formalized it in January. So for most of this year, we were busy organizing the Namibian Internet Governance Forum. It was a monumental event for us all. We were all there, the freedom of expression activists, the media practitioners, the technical community, academics, government representation, the private sector. So every individual or institution or organization that engages with the internet was invited. We targeted 100 participants and we had 111 people attending. It was a 2-day event from the 27th to the 28th. And the whole point of the 2-day event for us as the organizers was to get as much information and knowledge about the situation of the internet in Namibia. So that's why we had a number of sessions, and what we tried to do with these sessions is to gain as much information. So just briefly go through the sessions that we had. We had the internet as a medium to achieve inclusive and sustainable social, cultural, and political development, the role of the internet in achieving youth empowerment in Namibia, women, girls, and the internet, growing the Namibian digital economy, cybersecurity in the Namibian context. And on day 2, the 28th of September, which is also International Day for Universal Access to Information, we actually planned our IGF to fall on this day because for us as the organizers, we were and the Namibian government, access to information is a critical issue, and we felt it was important to highlight access to information as well, and to make the linkages between the internet and access to information. So for that, we had a session on access and affordability, improving the quality of multi-stakeholderism in the internet governance processes in Namibia, and then we ended with the business section. That was on day 2. I want to note that we were very happy with our high level table at the event. The event was officially launched on the 27th by our Minister of ICT, Secretariat. We also had the United Nations resident representative speaking, Kiki Kebo. We also were very happy to have Madame Cecilia Mamolodi Onyadile from SADC there. She also made a presentation. I saw her here. Maybe she's not in the room. So we were very lucky that we had SADC there, we had the UN there, and we had government all indicating their support for the Namibian IGF process. On day 2, which was International Day for Universal Access to Information, we had the day launched by our Ombudsman, Advocate John Waters, and we had the Namibian UNESCO representative, Jean-Pierre Ilbido, making keynote addresses there. I want to also say that we were very happy to have Mr. Bob Ochieng from ICANN Africa there at the event. He just made a really valuable input into the process because he's been part of the IG space in Africa for a couple of years. He understands a lot of things. So he was like our expert that we went to if we had any questions. He also moderated our business section, which was the section where we decided on the form of the Namibian IGF and where we want to take it in the future. So he moderated that for us, and he spent a lot of time trying to explain to us the bureaucracy and the hierarchy of the IGF process. So we were very grateful to have Bob there. What else can I say?
You have 20 seconds, madam.
Oh, 20 seconds. Basically, we were funded by Face Media Africa, the Namibia Media Trust, the AfriNIC, our ministry sponsored us, ISOC sponsored us, UNESCO sponsored us, and the Internet Governance Forum Support Association. So we are also very grateful for the support we got from everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And a hand of applause to our national IGF. We'll call on the regional ones before we go for question and answers. Thank you all for coming. Please, representative of the regional IGF, we need 5 representatives from the 5 sub-regions, please. And we'll have this time 2 minutes per sub-region. We have Mary Uduma here representing the West African IGF because she's the coordinator of the West African IGF. Even though we have Kofi, who is the Secretariat, but the coordinator is sitting here. Please come in. We'll start with Mary. Please, you have 3 minutes, not 1 more, please.
Thank you. Please, can you? The West Africa, we had our 9th IGF in West Africa, and it was hosted by the government of Benin. And it happened on 27th to the 28th of July, 2017. And our theme for that event was digital security for socio-economic development and peace in West Africa. You know, we have it very, very rough in West Africa. So we wanted something to get to that. And the participants were from ECOWAS. Our partners are ECOWAS, UPU, OIF, ABEC, Agency number ADN, FOSFA, ICANN, AfriNIC, ISOC, Alliance for Affordable Internet, A4AI, IGF Secretariat, IGF SA, IGF SAS, and APC. There were other axes. So we had a lot of partners around. But at the end of our discussions or debates, we came up with a recommendation. One was on security, openness, and policy. What we said that extensive education and sensitization of users on privacy and security tips for healthy and secure digital life should be done by all stakeholders. We reinforce the capacity and cooperation and capacity of national sets. That is it. On security, we should also have that. On trust, we said that we should accelerate cybersecurity strategies for each country in West Africa and establish robust child online protection strategies. On internet shutdown, we endorse and apply the principle of Africa Declaration on Internet Rights and Freedoms. So that's what we encouraged our members to do. And we adopted that countries should adopt permanent availability of the internet policy for the community so that nobody at any time will shut down the internet, because when you shut down the internet, it might be that at that time you need that internet critically to solve an economic problem, a peace problem, or emergency problem. What happens? We encourage, how can we do e-commerce if we shut down our internet? So there shouldn't be any time in our region where access should be shut down. Access to the internet should be shut down. On electronic commerce, we also recommended that we harness the potential of existing community tax and development and the free movement of goods persons to enhance electronic services in the region. On law enforcement, we agreed that we should encourage ratification of the Malabo and the Budapest Convention and increase collaboration among security officials in the countries of our region. We also said that there should be continuous training and retraining of our law enforcement so that they understand what is in IG space. Thank you. That's our report. Our challenge was, we had financial challenge, fine. We also have the infrastructure challenge. We hope that it will improve. The good news is that Burkina Faso has agreed to host us in 2018. I think Gambia will be hosting us in 2019. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary. In fact, West African IGF is the only sub-regional IGF which have been working throughout since its inception. They don't have a break. They work every year, and as she has indicated, we already have 2 countries hosting the next West African IGF. 2 years next African IGF or West African IGF. Thank you, Mary. And the newest of the the sub-regional IGF is North Africa, which was born 2 days ago. Rida, you have the floor.
Thank you, Makane. Now, the North African IGF, like all the other IGFs, takes its roots in the WSIS process and from the principles already stated from paragraph 72 to 80 of the Tunis agenda. But in fact, the North African IGF has not been created yesterday. It has been created in 2012. It was in Hammamet. We are here some people who were present and who contributed to this creation. Mohamed Timoulali, Tijani Benjma and his brother, Mustafa. We had also Nashwagat from Egypt and a lot of other people and good friends. So it was in September 2012. By that time, we created a temporary group in order to elaborate the terms of reference for the North African IGF. And in March 2016, we had another meeting which activated the activities of the North African IGF. We adopted the North African Charter. As far as I remember, it was almost the first draft charter that has been adopted. We created the NOMCOM, and we still have to elaborate the provisions related to this NUMCOM. And finally, we have got 22 members MAG with these 22 members designated from the civil society, from the governments, from academia, and from the private sector. And we have got indeed our last meeting, or our first meeting, let's call it like that, our first meeting here in Sharm el-Sheikh last week or last weekend. This is for history. Now, what we have dealt with during the last, this first IGF, North African IGF meeting, there were 2 minutes more? Okay. Well, we have discussed some, let's say, critical issues regarding internet governance, but probably we have given a good sign of inclusion. We have given a good sign of our looking to the future by going through what may be expected from the North African IGF. What may be next for North African IGF? First of all, of course, facing our obligations in terms of implementation of the North African IGF objectives as stated in the Charter. We have also to consolidate the multi-stakeholder aspect of the IGF, especially in international context. We have 7 countries and we have to be as much inclusive as we can in terms of multi-stakeholderism. We should also try to include all the countries of the region by encouraging the creation of national IGFs, and finally trying to have more relations with other IGFs, mainly in the region. And here I would like to draw your attention on the fact that North Africa belongs to 2 regions. North Africa belongs to the African region as well as to the Arab region, and this opens new windows, activity windows for us. We have decided to have the next meeting of the North African IGF next year in Tunisia, and we will try to find a way. This is, I wouldn't like to forget that we have introduced something which is a program committee, and fortunately we have got a chance for a very wide span of ideas that we had together in order to have the program. We will continue with this way of doing. There will be a program committee, but we will also establish other subcommittees to deal with the different aspects of the organization of regional IGF. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rida. Thank you, Mary, for representing the sub-regional IGFs. Now we'll call upon the special IGF. If there is any country which organize a youth IGF, for example, this year in 2017, if not, we'll open. Yes, do you may want to make a presentation? Yes, there is Kenya which organizes a youth IGF. Please. You have 3 minutes, Ephraim. Kenya, Nito.
Yeah, so I'm just going to mention just a few takeaways from the Youth IGF. We had a Youth IGF in Kenya organized by Watoto Watch Network with support from Kictanet and others. Watoto Watch Network is a children's rights organization. And I was one of the speakers, and I supported Lillian, who is not here in person, but she's following remotely with the logistics. The Youth IGF had representation from youth and high school students and primary school students from mostly Nairobi. Unfortunately, we didn't do outreach beyond Nairobi schools, but mostly Nairobi schools were represented. And then we had Safaricom came on board as one of the partners, and Facebook. Facebook came through very strongly to support the project, and Google, among others. and the Ministry of ICT. So it was, and the Communications Authority regulator. So it was well represented. It introduced youth to IG issues. And thank you, Barak and Kiktanet and Grace for trying to make IG issues simple to the young people, especially the youth from universities and high school and primary school who are there. That's just in brief what the Youth IGF. It was the first one that we had, and it was attended around 300 youth, which was really, really good. We thank the headmasters and the principals of the schools and the vice chancellors who supported the students to be there for the Youth IGF that we had. Just it was 2 days before the Kenya IGF and 2 days also before the Kenya School of Internet Governance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ephraim. Now we call upon Haju Dafala from Sudan.
Morning. Sudan has two youth IGF since 2016. The first IGF held in University of Jazeera, Madani. We have more students. We invite them. We collaborate. We make a good session. Most students are keen to learn, to know about ICANN, about IGF, about IETF, about anything related to this community. All people showed his ability to collaborate, to be a part, to engage in the process. Held in 28th of August 2016. In this year, also have a second youth IGF in Sudan, held in Khartoum, another place. This is my strategy to help every year in a new city, so to reach all people. Also have a number increased up to 300 people are participated. I have a website in Facebook. Everything or every information posted in this. Even this meeting, since we have issued in a website, since two months ago, I have made a note to all young people. They have another IGF meeting for Africa in Cairo in Sharm el-Sheikh. This is, I think, we need to more engage people in process because people, young people is alive. Young people is the futures. So must protect them, guide them, because I think that is the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the two youth IGF organizers or coordinators, co-organizers. Now they are reminding me that there was another sub-regional IGF organized in Central Africa. In fact, I contributed by sending and making presentation on the African Union Declaration on Internet Governance. Is there anybody from Central Africa? Michelle, can you come and give us 2-3 minutes, or Gishar, or Natalie? So apparently there is nobody from Central Africa who can, Central African country. So we give a hand of applaud to our youth and our sub-regional IGFs. Now we take one question from the floor, from one man and one lady, please. Yes, I've seen, this is a man, so the next one should be a lady. Please give him the mic and he has to introduce himself. If there is no lady, then we'll stop at the man.
Ok. Merci, monsieur le modérateur. C'est juste un commentaire, un additif à ce que Mary a dit. prochain West African IGF sera.
Please, can you introduce?
I would like to thank the moderator and please introduce me. My name is Rafael Kofi. I'm from the Siliao. We are working with the CEDAW Secretariat. The West Africa IGF held in Burkina Faso in 2017 is preceded by the African School for Governance. We call on all French-speaking moderators to support us in this event. Thank you very much, Kofi. And I would like to tell you, I was also head of the IGF for West Africa. Is there
I'd like to find out from Ephraim and the gentleman from Sudan, what format the youth IGFs take. Is it the same kind of formal format that is here, or you allow the young people to sort of have their own format for the national or local IGFs that you hold, and how is that different from this kind of setup here to allow them to express themselves the best way they know how? Thank you.
Okay, Ephraim.
Yeah, so regarding the format, since most of them, it was an introductory to the space, we gave a few presentations in the morning section and a few, but mostly in the afternoon and other sessions, we had youth group themselves in groups. I'll give the example of the Kenya Cybersecurity Bill. It is something which the youth gave comments. Having children from high school and primary try to analyze a law and give comments. So they were in groups, but they didn't really, it was introductory to them. We tried to make sure they were informed and they knew how the impact of these things were to them, but they didn't really take charge of the program because, as I mentioned, they were new to the space, so you couldn't really allow them to create their own program. But we hope to build on it. It was the first one, but one great outcome was we had recommendations, especially like the children saying about the girls who were there, talking about stalking, talking about some of the experiences and in relation to the cyber bill. So that was interesting. We told them this is the bill, this is what it says, and then they gave us comments and in-group discussions talking about different things. So that was one format. That was the format. So basically in the morning it was presentations. In the afternoon we had group discussions talking about different issues.
Do you have something to add, Ajo?
The important things you have message to use that you are important, that you are, it is very important to engage, to participate. Support. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The last question from Gishar Changu of Economic Committee of Central African State is there. Please, can you give him the mic? And in 1 minute when you finish, please, all the rapporteurs, please stay in the room. Don't go for lunch yet. The others can go and eat and
oui, merci Makane pour la parole. Donc je suis Guichard Sango de la
Thank you for giving me the floor. I'm in Songo. The question I would like to present to you is that you've noticed that there was no activity for Central Africa this year. We did not hold the IGF for Central Africa this year. We held the first forum in 2016 in Malabo. But in our region, we are trying to have this framework in Central Africa. We are cooperating with Gabon to host the Central Africa Forum in 2018. When we meet them, we will speak about holding the forum in 2018 in Gabon. Thank you.
For having contributed me online in one sub-regional IGF organized in Central Africa in 2017. Now we can close the debate. We thank you very much for having participated. The rapporteurs, please stay here. We have some discussions among ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Makane. I think we can. Let's break now for lunch, but we need to come back too sharp for two reasons. Number one, we have a very interesting session on DNS business, DNS industry. You need to attend. Second, if you come early, then you can leave early because you may need to visit and see the city. So, okay, so we can break with the exception of the rapporteurs. Thank you.
Mr. Gorfu Asefa, General Rapporteur, can you come up here? And the other rapporteurs also, please come, all of you. The others, you can go for lunch, but don't finish the food, please.